Good afternoon and welcome to this grammar session on framing questions. This is for classes 9 and 10. Okay, for the Goa Board examination, it is prescribed to be taught at class 10, where it features in your grammar section for just 1 mark. Okay, but some schools teach it at the 9th standard as well, so I'm including the 9th standards in this. Okay, now framing questions is made up of two parts. One is where you have to frame yes or no questions. Okay, questions which have to be answered with either yes or a no, not a detailed answer. So that 10 standards comes as do as directed. Okay, that comes under your do as directed, yes or no questions. And the second type is which comes in your actual grammar paper for 1 mark. Okay, which is it will come like this in your question paper. Poser une question au mot souligné. Okay, so basically you get a sentence with some words underlined. Okay, a sentence with some words underlined, and your question will have to be such that it merits the answer of the underlined word. Okay, I'll explain this to you as we go along. Let's start with the yes or no questions because you need this theory to get to the second type of questions, which is poser une question au mot souligné. Those types of questions will involve the use of question words like who, okay, what, why, and things like that. So the first part is yes or no questions. This comes as do as directed. It will be given to you like this. Okay. Mettez la phrase à la forme interrogative en utilisant l'inversion. So this comes as your do as directed question. Okay. Put the sentence into an interrogative form, which is a fancy way of saying make a question out of the sentence, okay, using inversion. What is inversion? We will discover now. That basically means you cannot use esker. In the 8th standard, you learn the method of using, you just shove esker before the sentence and it becomes a question, right? Now, you have to do it a little differently in your 10th standard. That is right, okay, but this is a more formal way of going about it. Okay, so let's take some simple sentences. Now, before that, let's discuss the structure of a sentence. Okay, you have a subject which is followed by a verb and which is followed by an object. Okay, this basic structure of a simple sentence. What is the subject? Is the thing that performs the action. What is the verb? The verb is the action. Okay, so the subject does the action, performs the action. The verb is the action. Okay, and then you have the object. What is the object? The object receives the action. Okay, so that is the structure of a simple sentence. So look at this. Vous aimez le poisson? You like fish. So vous becomes the subject here, which is doing the liking. Aimer is the verb and le poisson is the object. When we're bothering about questions, we don't have to worry about the object at all. Okay, we're only interested in the subject and the verb. So what you do in a simple sentence, it is subject, verb, object, right? In a question, what happens? We bring the verb in front, so it becomes verb, subject, object, and we put a dash in between the verb and the subject. Okay, and obviously a question mark. Don't forget about that. So, vous aimez le poisson is you like fish. Make it a question is you bring the aimer before the you bring the verb before the subject. So it becomes aimez vous le poisson question mark hyphen in between the subject and the verb, okay, which is now verb and then subject. So subject, verb, object became verb, subject, object with a hyphen in between, question mark at the end. So you like fish, do you like fish? Okay, that's how it works. Then, tu as vu un oiseau. You saw a bird. Now when you talk about passé composé, it's just the first verb that you need to take into consideration, okay? Just ignore the participle. So, tu as vu un oiseau. You saw a bird. What do you do? This is the subject. This is the verb. What do you do? Interchange the two, okay? And put a dash in between, question mark at the end. You saw a bird. Tu as vu un oiseau. As-tu vu un oiseau? Did you see a bird? Okay, this is how you work on inversion. You bring the verb before the subject, you put a hyphen in between the two, and you put a question mark at the end. Now, there are some exceptional situations which you need to look at a little more carefully. Okay, when you have a verb ending with a vowel and it is followed by the pronoun il or el when you're considering question, because the verb will come first, right? So when the verb ending with a vowel is followed by il and el, you will get a situation where there is a vowel and there is another vowel, right? Supposing you say M here, okay? If you are inverting il M, it will become M il, right? Can you see there is a clash of vowels happening? So in order to avoid this, whenever you see two vowels clashing, you have to introduce a T in between. So it will become M till, okay? Whenever you have the verb ending with a vowel and your pronoun starting with a vowel, okay, then you have to introduce the extra T in between to avoid the clash. So look at this, okay? Il arrive de bonne heure. He arrives early. So il arrive. You have to switch the two because this is subject, this is verb. Switch the two. Arrive, you will get it as arrive il. Can you see the clash? E and then I. So you have to put an extra T. So arrive till de bonne heure. Okay, does he arrive early? Same way. Elle a fait deux tartes. She made two pies. So this is the subject, this is the verb. You need to split, interchange the two. Sorry. So when you actually do it, it will be A L. Can you see clash? A and E. So you have to put a T in between. Okay. So it becomes A-t-elle fait deux tartes. Okay. Did she make two tarts? This is the second rule. Now the third rule is, this is not very complicated. What happens when you have a person, okay, starting the sentence, or anything that is not a pronoun basically? And all these sentences you've seen, they've started with tu, il, elle, je, okay, things like that. So what do you do when it's not these pronouns? Okay, now remember, you can only invert a pronoun. You cannot invert a name or a name of an animal, okay, or a profession. You cannot invert things like that. So what do you do when you have names? Okay, here, when you have anything that is not a pronoun, what do you do? So take this sentence: Celia et Maria aiment le poisson. So now what you do, you don't switch the subject and the verb. You keep the subject where it is, you keep the verb where it is, and now you introduce a new part of speech, which is the pronoun. Which pronoun do you introduce? The pronoun which best represents the subject. Okay, so Celia and Maria are two girls or two ladies, which will make them, the best pronoun will be L. Okay, so you have to introduce that pronoun after the verb and put a dash. Okay, the same rule of T will apply if there is a dash between the two vowels. So Celia et Maria aiment-elles le poisson? Question mark. Okay, so when you have names or you have a profession, anything that is not a pronoun here, you cannot invert it. So you keep it as it is, keep the verb where it is. Here you introduce an appropriate pronoun, okay, which best represents the actual subject. Le petit garçon a vu un oiseau. So the little boy saw a bird. So le petit garçon is not a pronoun, you cannot invert it. So you keep it where it is. Okay, keep it where it is. You keep that a also where it is. Now you introduce a new pronoun. Le petit garçon is the little boy, which is best represented by il. Okay, so here you bring the il, it will be a, il. It is that clash happening a and I, so you introduce the new t as well. So it becomes le petit garçon a-t-il vu un oiseau? The little boy, did he see a bird? Okay, or did the little boy see a bird? Okay, so I hope you've understood this part of framing questions. This is part 1 where I have tackled how you frame a yes or no question. This is question under do as directed for board exams. In the next part of this video, I'll look at how you frame questions using question words like who, what, where, and question words like that. Okay. Till I meet you next, thank you.